I've been filming videos on Talk Norwich City for a decade, and in that time have covered hundreds of Norwich City matches. I've seen thumping 7-0 defeats in the Premier League. I've seen humiliating moments in the Championship. I've seen us dicing with relegation in the Championship. I've seen the highs as well. And I feel like over that time, I'd covered most scenarios. I thought that, whatever Norwich City threw at me, I would be able to find words for and discuss to the best of my ability. And then up comes today. Saturday the 23rd of September 2023, Norwich City travelled to Plymouth Argyle and lose 6-2. Yes, 6-2. And I'm absolutely lost for words about what has just happened before my very eyes. I've been sat here at my desk for the last hour trying to formulate some kind of plan in how to deliver this video verdict, and I'm still speechless. Not only with the performance, but how out of the blue it seemingly came. And maybe it hasn't been out of the blue. Maybe I've been blind to what's been happening at Norwich City this season. I predicted pre-season that this Norwich side at best would finish mid-table. I said that if he didn't have a good start to the season, then David Wagner would probably be in the picture in terms of sacking. And yet, the start of the season felt really good. A few wins under our belt. We were keeping clean sheets. We were scoring goals at a rate of knots. We were playing some really fluid football. The mood felt good, the cohesion in the team felt good, the signings felt good, and suddenly you had a platform where it's okay, like maybe this Norwich team are capable of delivering in this division. We've had injuries. Josh Sargent's out, Ashley Barnes is out. That's not ideal. We're left with Adam Ida and Hwang up front. Ida scored twice today. I think there is a player in there somewhere. And yet we served up today. And I kind of want to, say before all of this and before we try and dig into what we've just witnessed, a big well done to the 1,600 Norwich fans who travelled to Plymouth. If you're not aware of where Norfolk is situated, it is a very long way to Plymouth. The official club coaches for fans set off at 5:30 this morning. If you took that mode of transport with your ticket, it would have set you back £92. That's before you've bought beers and programmes and all of that stuff. So, people would have spent probably close to 200 quid if they've taken the train and bought the tickets and had a meal and stuff. It's expensive watching Norwich City away from home. And on days like this, it's humiliating as well. Chris Gorham interviewed Kenny McLean. He described it as inexcusable, shambolic and embarrassing. If you haven't listened to the Kenny McLean interview, I think it's well worth a listen. It was deeply concerning, actually, because the way he was so down kind of made it out that this wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a blip. Obviously the players are hurting. And I think we do have a good group of players here. I think there is, what I thought was character, clearly not, having, managed the game in the manner they did. I'm just really taken aback by how badly suddenly we've defended more than anything. I mean, you're 2-0 down in the, 45th minute. Whittaker scored early on, and then Scar scored 2-0. If you go into half-time 2-0, it's far from ideal, but you are still in a position where you could claw back a point, maybe even 3. Stranger things have happened in the Championship. Norwich actually went into half-time 4-0 down. They conceded in the 45th plus 3 and the 45th plus 5. Now, in no world is that acceptable where you throw away 2 goals in such sloppy circumstances. That's just poor game management. That's really poor mentality and poor all over. That's shocking. We go 5-0 down. Adamida pulls it back. A fairly clever finish for the first. A smart penalty for the second. I think in if you're looking for the smallest glimpse of hope, I think Adamida's couple of goals today gives you that. I think they're 4 goals for the season now. And I think if played regularly, which he will have to be now, because I haven't seen anything from Hwang so far, Adamida will score goals. I'm relatively confident of that. And then to kind of add insult to it all, we concede in the 97th minute to make it 6. So it's 3 goals conceded in first and second half stoppage time. And the defence just have to look at themselves today and be utterly ashamed of what they've served up. But it's really odd because, I think Gibson and Duffy, on the most part, have been fairly solid this season. I think they suit Championship football. They're far from the prettiest of defenders. But dealing with aerial threats, I think they've been really good. Just looking at match ratings, Duffy was rated 4.3 out of 10 today. Probably actually quite generous. And I thought the wing-backs have been good as well in Jack Stacey and Dimi Anulis. All of them guys have served up absolute dross today. Gabriel Sara's numbers have looked good all season, but I thought was poor once again. Next to Kenny McLean, who spoke well, post-match, but offered kind of no real ability to solidify the game when it mattered. And then going forwards, I've seen absolutely nothing from Hwang, who, fair play, is still coming up to speed and probably didn't expect to be involved as much as he has been when he first signed. Fasnacht and Johnny Rowe, again, little to no impact at all. Adamida with a couple of goals, well done to him. I tweeted out, is this a blip, or, do we genuinely need to be concerned? And it's a question that I still haven't figured out in my head. I thought the result when we played Rotherham was somewhat of a blip. I think we really missed Josh Sargent in that game. We didn't have Hwang. That was my excuse there. It certainly wasn't as humiliating as today was. The win against Stoke, was far from pretty, but it pleased me that we kept a clean sheet and we ground that out. I thought the defeat to Leicester was acceptable. Losing is never good, but I thought actually the performance in that game wasn't too bad, particularly the first half. Could have quite easily scored a couple on that night. So I'm going into today going, okay, we've lost a couple of games in our last few, but I don't think that the performances have been too bad. I'm hoping that Adamida can click into it. And what I've seen has genuinely really concerned me. Part of me is going, it's a one-off. We simply cannot be that bad again. Plymouth at home, yes, they've lost a couple this season, but 100 plus points in League One last season. They've added Morgan Whittaker, that was a very shrewd signing. They've added Ballymumba. Both of those guys £1 million and have looked superb. They've got their recruitment really spot on. So Plymouth are a good side. I'm not saying that they are good enough to score 6 goals against us. Nobody in this division should be scoring 6 goals against us. Norwich City, with the squad and our wages and the money that we've kind of spent over the years, should be at the absolute bare minimum top half. And that performance today was, utterly shameful. So part of me is going, it's got to be a blip. It has to be a blip. The other half of me going is, well, Jack, what's changed from pre-season when you were saying, we were going to finish mid-table at best. The form of last season has kind of carried through. Nothing has really changed from my opinion at the start of the season to now. The squad is the same, if not weaker, because of the loss of Sargent and Barnes. Someone made the point to me on Twitter that we had that little brief spell, didn't we, last season where I think we pumped Preston and Coventry away from home, and actually the form really tailed off from then. So we need to really look at ourselves here and go, why is this happening? Why is this being allowed to happen? The excuse towards the latter end of last season was it's a young squad. If you can see these kind of tailspins happening, it's because we don't have the experience in there to mentally kind of manage these scenarios. I look back to Middlesbrough at the end of last season when we were thumped. We had a very young squad at that time. Actually, now I'm going through this squad. I've got Gunn, Stacey, Duffy, Gibson, and Yanulis as a back line who all played a lot of football at this level, away from this level. That's unacceptable. You've got Kenny McLean in there, one of our most senior players, next to Gabriel Sarah, who we're absolutely raving about. And then going forwards, you've got, Fasnacht, Huang, Rowe, and Ida, who does leave, somewhat, wanting more. But the base of this team, the defence and the midfield, there's oodles of experience in there. And for the game to just fall apart in the way it did today is deeply, deeply concerning. And these Norwich players have to take long, hard looks at themselves and ask themselves, how has this happened? Why has this happened? And how are we going to make sure that this doesn't happen again? The upcoming fixtures, Fulham in the Cup, we've certainly got bigger issues to deal with than if we progress through the EFL Cup. It does offer game time for the likes of Signs and Huang, who we desperately need to start performing. Then you've got Birmingham. The next league game is next Saturday. Birmingham at home. That is going to be very interesting to see how we bounce back. It should be a win. I know Birmingham have been fairly decent this season, but they're without a win in 5 games. Drew 0-0 to QPR on Friday night. You have to win that. And then you travel to Swansea, who've been struggling this season. And then you travel to Coventry, who, much like Swansea, have also been struggling this season. So Norwich have 3 games in a row where they have to be winning, or at least seeing better performances. Kenny McLean said it in his interview. The start of the season is gone now. That's gone. That's a distant thought. Norwich in their last 4 league games have won just once. And one of those was a 6-2 defeat against Plymouth today. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm the most conflicted about this, and confused about where Norwich are than I've ever been. I don't know if we're a good team. I don't know if we're a shambolic team at this stage. We're probably somewhere in the middle, and actually, mid-table is probably the expectation. I was saying to everyone going into this game, I've made it very clear how important I thought Josh Sargent was to this squad and how big a miss he will be. That certainly doesn't excuse a 6-2 defeat. If we can get to Christmas in and around the top 6, we'll have done really well. And I think that should be the aim. Actually now, if we can get to Christmas above 10th, that will be a huge achievement. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. This is going to be one that we dissect at length on the podcast, so look out for that. That should be dropping on Tuesday. Until then, try and enjoy yourself in whatever way you wish. And look, speak soon. Norwich have been defeated 6-2 by Plymouth Argyle.